The Saints Row reboot has been trashed by critics who've called it a bland, boring, and broken title. They've said it's an unremarkable experience that they wouldn't recommend to anyone, and now users are able to leave their scores on sites like Metacritic, and this title is getting obliterated by furious fans. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. Now, I have been covering the backlash on social media, but it is good to see all of the scores be kind of combined. So right now, the critic score is sitting at a 63, but the user score is sitting at an abysmal 2.8 based off of over 200 ratings. People are not very happy with this game, and of course I'm sure the media is going to spin this in a certain way that it's just toxic individuals hating on a game they haven't played or they haven't purchased, because that's what the media does. But even critics have disliked this title. Except for, of course, the shills, the ones who have clearly gotten paid to promote this product. I mean, you are not convincing me that all of these websites are giving it, 40s, 50s, 60s, and then Gaming Nexus is 95 is real, or Gamers RD is real, or Hobby Consoles 85 is real. It just doesn't add up. Now, of course, this game is on many different platforms, so I am going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 Metacritic page because that's where the most ratings are. But if we go to the other platforms, PC is sitting at a 2.4, you've got PlayStation 4 sitting at a 1.7, and then the Xbox Series X page is bringing it to a 2.6. But again, there's the most ratings so far on the PlayStation 5 version, so that's the one I'm going to read the criticisms from. So the first review is a 4. Saints Row is back and rebooted just in time for 2022, and guess what? It's a piece of crap. This title stands out to be one of the worst open-world sandbox games ever made. The only positives I can give it is the new Santa Elisa location setting and the graphics. Now, I have been a giant fan of Saints Row in the past. I've never actually gotten a chance to stream one on the channel. Maybe one day we'll go back and play one of the better games. But unfortunately, this was not a game that caught my attention from the beginning. As soon as I heard that they were rebooting Saints Row, I instantly got worried because most reboots now are bad. They're rebooting it for a specific reason because they want to bring in new characters, a new story, and a just different direction than the previous titles, because if they wanted to make the same content, they would just make a sequel or another game in the main series. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of hope from the beginning, and it turned out to be even worse than I imagined. Not only are the characters bad and the story is bad, but unfortunately this game is very buggy and very broken. Here's a 0. From not listening to their fans to blatantly being insulting and arrogant towards them, the devs over at Volition put the final nail to the coffin of this franchise. They deserve everything that's coming. Awfully written characters, poor gameplay, censorship, among a bunch of other issues made this game the laughing stock of games this month. I do think that this is going to be rated one of the worst games of 2022 because, again, there's just this pile of problems wrong with it. It's not like they put out a very technically solid title and just the characters and the story was bad. No, everything is bad with this. It says a litany of bugs and terrible humor, if you can call it that, aside. The game is terribly written with very poor pacing, lackluster narrative, and very flat characters. I did not purchase this game. I'll buy it when it's $5 in a discount bin at GameStop. But I have watched quite a bit of gameplay already because I wanted to be able to see what the problems were with my own eyes. And there are so many problems. An absolute insult of a game, a 0 score here. Horrible story and characters, outdated controls and gameplay that seems older than even the original game, crashes way too often, glitches that literally break the game constantly. The only good thing out of this is the most likely Crobecat video that we'll get showing off how much of a mess this entire project is. People are just roasting this title, and it is pretty funny because Volition went so hard against people who were criticizing the gameplay in the early trailers that we saw. They were basically saying haters are gonna hate, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Ever since this game was announced a year ago, they have written off any criticisms as hate, and there are a lot of people who decided, you know what, I'm not going to support this title simply because of the way that the developers have acted. They have buried themselves in a hole that they now can't get out of. Honestly, I don't feel bad for them. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. When you go on social media and you are spending your time attacking people who are simply criticizing what they see, you aren't going to get sales, and you don't deserve to get sales when all you are going to do is insult your audience and potential consumers. And now, their game probably isn't selling very well. It's getting all of these negative reviews, and there's no one to stand up for them. Don't forget, they also delayed this game by several months because they said they needed to polish it. Well, clearly, they needed to do more than a little bit of polishing because this is the final boss in the game. I mean, this reminds me of Cyberpunk and how buggy and glitchy it was. I mean, this does not look impressive. This is not the experience you expect to get when you pay $60 and $70 for a title. There are still many zeros here. This one says the worst AAA shooter ever made. It's got terrible mechanics, bad humor, bad acting and characters. You should go back to your roots and remaster Saints Row 2006. Now, I actually don't want to see this happen because whenever companies are remastering titles, they also go back and tone down and censor content. And I don't want them to fuck up this franchise any more than they already have. And like I showed, there are obviously a lot of critics roasting this title. Here are just a few of my favorite headlines. New Saints Row reboot is so bad, people are already deleting it. There's people who have tried to give it a chance and they've said, you know what, it's just not worth it. I'm not gonna play it. And of course, there's always people who say maybe in a few months after patches have come out, it'll be a better experience because it won't be so buggy and glitchy, but you're still going to have to face the awful dialogue and terrible characters. And then there's this one. Saints Row is dead. The reboot is a critical failure. This makes me so sad because I have loved Saints Row in the past, but I felt absolutely no excitement for this reboot. I'm very sad that this is what Saints Row has turned into, but clearly everyone hates it right now. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.